So one of the keys, I think, has been education. Once we started deploying these, I will get a call or two a month from someone in the company with an idea, wow, we could use a fuel cell here or there. And a lot of times it's not an appropriate application, and it's just a matter of education. You know, what niche do these fill for us in our portfolio, and where do they make the most sense? And that's been a part of it. But so far, we're very pleased with their use, and we plan to continue deployments. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, happy Wednesday morning. I mean, many of us have been sitting here, and it's just like feeling like the ever-ready battery buddy, and all we want to do is keep going and going and going. Well, that's the kind of business we're in. I am Beth Moore, and I represent the Defense Logistics Agency, and I am the Chief of Operations, Support Operations, for a Defense Logistics Agency distribution depot in Warner Robins, Georgia. This morning, what I'd like to do is give you a quick overview of Defense Logistics Agency as a whole, as well as introduce you and tell you about all of the new things that we as an organization within the distribution business are doing, and highlight some of the success stories as well as some of the inhibitors in us getting on our journey to making this a program for the future. And finally, I think I would like to leave with an opportunity at looking at us as an industry and furthering the partnerships that we've already been on and seeing where we can get the rest of the nation and globally embracing this technology. DLA is, I'm going to have to break for a minute. Sorry. DLA is a global organization, and it is the Defense Logistics Agency's, or DoD's, Combat Logistics Service and Support Agency. And we are the primary provider for a number of commodities. 84% of all of the repair parts are provided through the Defense Logistics Agency. And if you'll note, and you'll understand why we're in the business of the energy side, is they are responsible, or we are responsible for 100% of fuels or energy. All the petroleum products, all of the gas, oil, lubricants are produced or actually acquired and contracted through the Defense Logistics Agency. Some of the highlights of our business, obviously, is that we have a lot of transactions day to day. I mean, if you look at the hundreds of thousands of transactions we make, the number of contracts that we sign every day. And in the competitive world, we're number 3 of the top distribution businesses. In fact, in distribution alone, I believe we're only second to FedEx and UPS. We have 25 distribution depots worldwide. We're resident in 28 countries, 48 states, I believe. Vermont and Iowa are the only 2 states that we don't have presence in. Our workforce, as you'll note, is a highly civilianized, but at the same time, a number of those folks are forward-braced. They're emergency essential employees designated, and right now we have civilians that are supporting the efforts in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and even the Balkans and in the Pacific. Most of our operation is functionally aligned. We have supply centers that purchase all the commodities, and they are broken down by land and maritime, as well as troop support. All the sustenance, all the food products are purchased likewise through DLA. We have an aviation element, and that's what my depot supports. We are actually the repair cycle facility for C-5s, C-17s, F-15s, and the C-130s. We actually monitor everything from cradle to grave, from acquisition to disposition. And part of that disposition is our realization marketing, and it brings back a lot of the revenue. Or if a agency or a unit no longer needs something, we'll put it out and try to redistribute it, because once it's paid for, we don't charge for the reuse of that item. And then we also offer excesses to all the state's government agencies, as well as local vendors when we have no customers in the primary acquisition areas. Early in 2008, we took on a venture thanks to Senator Levin, and through the help of the Department of Energy and Pete Devlin and his group, we were able to acquire some congressional funding to further the research and development and adoption of technology in the fuel cell market. Our efforts were a little bit different from our predecessor at Susquehanna, where we took on the opportunity to actually set up a reformer station right there at our installation. And I'll talk about some of the issues in setting that up. It was not an easy start. We had to get buy-in from not only the local community, and as a tenant on an Air Force base, we set up memorandums of understanding or agreements with all of the primary parties, the base civil engineers, the base fire department, and actual constructions, the civil engineers, to make this all happen. As you can tell on the slide, we actually had the contract awarded in June of 2008. We started the construction in August 2009, and it wasn't until November 2009 that we were actually able to go into operation. Initially, we targeted 20 forklifts where we would retrofit them. In fact, they were Crown forklifts, and we partnered with Crown as well. And our challenge, of course, was that unlike most of the companies that you see in industry, like with the Walmarts, the Worlds, and even Cisco Foods, they're all centrally located. Well, in my business, because we try to put the parts closest to the customer, there are 19 actually geographically separated facilities that I operate from, or my organization operates from, and so we opted to go with a mobile refueling operation. We tried to position the forklifts in the high demand locations and tried to centralize them so that we could minimize the traveling between the fuel station, which is actually central to it, as well as the distance to the forklifts, because the last thing you want to do is take the forklifts out of operation and take them to the fuel station to fill them up. After a while, as we got into it, we got actually better scheduling, and we started positioning the reforming trailers next to some of the facilities for scheduled periods of time. Well, I will tell you, the best salespersons in my organization today are my operators. They love the business of operating hydrogen fuel cell generated forklifts. One of the biggest accolades they give is the fact that it's constant usage availability. They also like the fact that it's quiet. And because we have everything on site, it's actually cheaper. As you know, or may know right now, if you don't have an on-station or a co-located energy source like hydrogen, that the cost of purchasing it and having it delivered is quite high. As you can see to my right, we've actually tried to look at harnessing other capabilities through the Center of Transportation and the Environment. We awarded a contract, and what you see to my right is a fully operated H2 fueled utility cart that has a range of about 300 miles for 3.7 kilograms of power, or of hydrogen. And if you were here earlier and we pulled it back, it was not to state that, no, it does operate. We actually wanted to lessen the noise factor of the reversing warning system. As another initiative, we are also looking at, and we have awarded a contract to get the yard tractors, because we move, in our business, we're about ready to open up a distribution center, a consolidation containerization point, where we will be moving numbers of trailers around our facilities to load from our warehouses. The rough part is the education. Actually getting our communities to embrace the fact that hydrogen is not a threat, that it actually does have its safe aspects. It's lighter than air, it dissipates very quickly, as many of you know. And so one of our challenges was trying to educate the community in doing that. The Unified Facilities criteria, as well as the National Fire Protection Act, which gave us some starts and lengthened the process in actually getting us to field our program. Another thing is that the question is, well, what about the technology? When's the right time to invest in this type of market? I mean, many of you here today know that we've come eons from where we were years ago, as Pete pointed out. And as many of the speakers will echo, the cost of doing this business is still too high. So what do we need to do as a community? Well, firstly, we need to solicit or recognize the fact that energy demand is going to continue to grow. And how we respond to that demand for energy is really up to us. It's up to the cities, the states, the countries, and even globally, getting together and realizing that there is an alternative fuel source and we need to embrace it and capture it and exploit it to its highest capabilities. We need to get the codes and the standards in line so that we work hand in hand with them, so that when we get ready to explore more opportunities, that they're readily available and they become facilitators of ICE inhibitors. And finally, we need to provide the infrastructure. I recall back a year and a half ago, when I was reading an energy magazine, where the biggest naysayers to biodiesel were the truck drivers. And the reason they were so negative on it, and they are our main source of transportation today and our main cost factor, is because the availability of the biodiesel was not there. I mean, their point was well taken. Why should I go 20 miles out of my way to find the source of biodiesel when it takes away and expends and incurs costs that they shouldn't be having to bear? So we as a community, I charge all of us to continue what we're doing, and let's make this a reality for all of us in the future. Thank you.